Hi, Steve Landau here with EmbRace Tucson, Embrace Your Inner Athlete with my co-host Julie Stark, from On Your Left Fitness and Timing. Hello, Julie. And we are so honored today to have our Joseph Blair with us. Joseph is a former U of A basketball player, now with the Philadelphia 76ers as an assistant coach. JB, welcome into the show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, man. I appreciate it, Steve. Always great to see you. It's been way too, brother.
Yes, it has been too long since I had the days of me playing basketball with you and dunking on me and going through my screens, but it's always great to see you either way. Today, we're going to speak to Joseph about what's going on in the NBA and what's going on in his life. A little bit of background on JB. JB was a four-year player at the University of Arizona. He played in the 1994 Final Four with the U of A. He played professionally in France, Italy, Turkey, and Russia, and it was highlighted as a three-time Italian All-Star and a EuroLeague 2002-03 regular season MVP. That is saying a lot. The EuroLeague is a big deal. Outside of the NBA, the EuroLeague is one of the best leagues around, so that's amazing. JB was also a Harlem Globetrotter. A lot of people don't know that. And his coaching career began with the U of A in 2013 through 2015 as a U of A big man coach, where he coached the likes of Caleb Tarzewski to help him have a wonderful career. And then after being with the University of Arizona, JP headed over to the NBA G League as a coach for the Rio Grande Vipers, where last year they won the 2018-2019 G League championship. On the heels of that, JP was picked up quickly as an assistant coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, where he now coaches. So JB, welcome. We appreciate again you being here. How are things going by you?
Everything's going well. You know, I'm staying as positive as possible in these times. Just happy to be here, happy to spend time with you guys. And, you know, I'm still, even though I'm not in Tucson, support Tucson as much as I can. So I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Well, we're happy to have you again with us today. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your what's going on in your life, and let's start. Let's go down memory lane a little bit. Let's go back to your career at the U of A. Tell me, if you were to reminiscing about your time at the U of A, how that's influenced your life as the person you are today and where it's taken you.
Well, you know, I have to say that I'm a firm believer in every experience you have in your life is something that rolls into the rest of your life. So I wouldn't be the man I am today without the experiences I've had throughout my life, and obviously a big chunk of that is Tucson. And of course, those 4 years at the University of Arizona playing there. And as you know, Steve, I've done a lot or did a lot in the community with Tucson for quite some time. If it wasn't for my 4 years there, being embraced by the community, I definitely would have never been the man I am today and have grown the heart that I have for the community and for community work in general, whether it be in Tucson or wherever I am. So I'm greatly impacted by Tucson, by the university, and obviously the professionalism of the University of Arizona basketball program as well helped me to develop into the player I became as a professional player. And also, I still use quite a bit of the things I learned there as a coach now. And going back even further, I know you asked about my 4 years at Arizona, but my time spent in Tucson in general, working in the philanthropic field as well, and just trying to be a community leader. A lot of the attributes I use and utilize to this.
Oh, I think we lost you, JB.
You there with us, JB?
I'm here.
Oh, good. You're there.
Are you there?
Yeah, we got you. We got you back. Your time at the U of A as a basketball player and as a young man, I'm sure that has obviously shaped who you are today. You've done amazing work for us in the Tucson community with your Blair Foundation, helping young Tucsonans be able to have the opportunity to learn how to play basketball the right way, and that has been a wonderful thing. With that in mind, if you're at your time at the U of A, we know that so many amazing coaches have come out of the Lute Olson School of Coaching, people like Steve Kerr, Miles Simon with the Lakers, Judd Bushler, I think, is still with the Knicks, and Luke Walton with the Sacramento Kings. What did Lute's influence have on you?
I think it was just the professionalism and trying to help us understand the game. I look and see, one of the things I always use this as an example when I talk about us at University of Arizona. Coach O treated us like professionals, which taught us to carry ourselves like professionals. For example, typically we travel with Arizona State, and whenever we go to LA, we play UCLA, they'd be playing USC. Then we play USC while they play UCLA, but we typically stayed at the same hotel. And I remember one of those trips in particular where I'm walking in from going to see a friend of mine in town, and I see these guys jumping over their balconies to go out. What are they doing? Well, they had room checks, or they had to be in their room at a certain time. And I think that was what Bill Frieder at the time felt he needed to do to control those guys. Where Coach Olson, we never did that. He expected you to carry yourself as a professional and be ready to play the next day, and that's what he did. And I think when you carry and treat people like that, that's the way they tend to carry themselves. If you treat people like they're going to do wrong, they're going to do wrong. If you treat people like they're going to do the right thing, typically they'll do the right thing. And I think a lot of those types of, just that is a short lesson, but a lot of those types of lessons are the things that you learn being a coach and being a player and just being a human being. I know you mentioned a lot of great coaches. We have a lot of successful players, a lot of successful people, that have played under Louis Olson as well, have become very great professionals in their career paths.
Absolutely, that's very true. And all good human beings are doing great things for their community. And if you look at those players in particular that have gone to the NBA, they've all behaved as standout individuals in the NBA, where there's an opportunity to fall into traps of partying and drugs and doing stupid things is not uncommon. So yeah, we have to, I think, give great props to the U of A for what they've done with their players. Julie, you have a question?
Yeah, so Joseph, it's nice to meet you. I'm only 5 feet tall, so I can only imagine if we were standing next to each other what that would look like. So I'm grateful that we have an even playing field on a screen. um, you know, we're obviously living in very odd times right now, and Steve is and I've kind of coined the phrase "the new abnormal." And we were just kind of wondering if you have any insight on what it's like, or what some of the other NBA players are doing to keep in game shape and ready for when a season comes around again.
Well, first of all, Julie, I promise you, if we were together, I'd watch where I step so I don't accidentally step on you. Secondly, to answer your question, every player is different. It's kind of, it's really like off season for players, but it's obviously not off season in the aspect of everyone's going to do what they think they need to do to prepare and stay prepared, and also what's in their means. You have players, for example, such as LeBron James, who has his own basketball court and his own gym. So obviously he's doing a whole lot more and can do a whole lot more than some of the lower level players. And then you have other guys that might just have a weight room in their house, or some guys that don't even have that, and they're just trying to make way with what they can. And everyone's different. Also, the way this impacted everyone. I mean, let's be honest here. This is not discriminatory to what your career path is or what your gender is or anything. It is what it is. It's affecting everyone. And before we can even talk about what they're doing to stay physically fit, we have to talk about what they need to do to stay mentally fit. Because mental well-being during this time is probably more important than physical. So, we're just trying to encourage those guys to stay mentally fit and mentally healthy, and do whatever we can as a staff to try to help them remain mentally healthy. And then also, obviously, physical well-being is crucial, because if we do start the season again, you don't want to start from zero. So I think every person is really doing what's in their means and in their power to stay as physically prepared as they can for return to action. But everyone's different. Some guys, like I said, some guys are on the Peloton every day. Some guys are out running every day. Some guys are lifting every day. Some guys are doing body weight exercise every day. And then, there's other guys, like I said, in the NBA that have all of the above and get to do that every day.
I love that you guys are recognizing the mental side of this, because that is a huge component. If you don't have a healthy mind, it's really hard to have a healthy body. So thank you.
Indeed. And I think that it also parlays into your physical well-being. The better you feel mentally, the more more encouraged and more motivated you are to get out and do physical activity.
You're actually going to make me cry. That means a lot to me that you said that.
Of course, it is the truth.
And some of the guys are staying home playing NBA 2K on ESPN.
I'm hoping that makes them work on their shot better with their
I hope so too. JB, how did your first year as an NBA assistant go, and how did it differ from the G League with the Vipers?
I mean, it went well. Obviously, you know, if you look at our team's success, we're right there. We are into the playoffs if the playoffs were to start, which that's a big and great thing. So it's going well. I've learned tons. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of different things. You know, I was under the Houston Rockets organization. For those who don't know, the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, the team in the G League, is under the Houston Rockets. So not only was I coaching with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, but I also worked with the Houston Rockets on a yearly basis. And that goes back from Coach Kevin McHale on to Mike D'Antoni now. So it's kind of two different organizations, not two different organizations, but two different coaching styles I was under. And but the Houston Rockets, for those who do understand basketball or follow basketball, are very analytically driven, where the Sixers are less analytically driven. So it's been a great experience just learning more. And I think the biggest change for me was, last year, my 4 years with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers and with the Houston Rockets, for that matter, for my first 3 years, I was an assistant coach. And my last year there, when we won the championship last year, was my first year as a head coach. And then going from a head coach back to an assistant coach is quite a significant change. And I think the biggest change for me is, instead of trying to develop a culture, you're just trying to promote one that someone else is trying to develop. And I think when it comes to coaching, that is like the big thing. Everyone knows X's and O's, some better than others, obviously, but to get to this level, and as a professional coach, everyone's going to understand basketball. What it comes down to is who can create, build, and cultivate the best culture around their organizations. And that's what I tried to do as a head coach, and now trying to understand better what the culture is with the Sixers through Brett Brown, and how can I help to cultivate that culture.
And that's why the successful coaches are as what they are today. The other coaches that don't set a culture, players do whatever they want. They think that the game owes them something, rather than them owing the game, that wraps with their ability to be able to play in the game. That aside, let me ask you this question: what do you see as your future in professional coaching?
Well, I mean, I'd be ridiculously underrating myself if I wasn't optimistic enough to say I'm going to be a head coach of the future NBA championship basketball team.
I like it. How about there could be an opening for my New York Knicks?
Yeah, there could be, but that is one. Whatever coach does take that on, I have to say it's going to be one heck of a challenge. I will say also, I'm somewhat close with Mike Miller. The coach has stepped in as an interim coach this year, and I have to say what he did coming in mid-season, and I don't want to say completely turned the program around, but he definitely got it going in a trending direction. So I'm happy to see what he did there. And I think that also the Knicks fans in general also noticed that that's a hard job to have. Out of all NBA jobs, there's a few that you consider really hard jobs. So Lakers are one, Boston's one, and the Knicks are one. Those are powerhouse teams with a lot of history, and not only that, and I would say Philadelphia 76ers as well. There are fans that understand the game, that you're not going to be able to pull the wool over their eyes whatsoever. So it's a very tough job to have. I would love to have it myself, though. I will say that, but I have to give props to my man Mike Miller in the meantime.
I think he did do a great job as a Knicks fan. I will say he did a very good job, and he got that team to play good basketball, and he got them to win some games, which was unusual. But even despite who you are and what you've done, you never know in New York.
Facts, indeed.
True. One of the last questions I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give pro athletes right now? Just stay mentally sharp, physically sharp, anything else?
It's strange, because if you would have asked me this 5 months ago, my response obviously would be different. To do what you do right now. But I will say, you know, right now, my best advice would be is to, number one, do what you can to stay physically active, just physically active. Because especially when you're younger, the younger people are going to have quicker bounce back when all this is over and we can go back to whatever the new norm might be. Either way, you're going to be able to have access to more training, whether it be equipment or personnel or whatever it be, than you do have right now. Secondly, I would say just to take this time to become a student of the game. This is your chance to do it. And that's in any sport, mind you, not just basketball. You know, I could say in running, study the past. What are the inclines, the declines? Where are they in the next run or whatever run you want to do? If it's bicycling, the same thing. Understand the equipment. Go out there and actually put your tools on a bicycle and see what does what. So if it breaks down, you're not calling your parents or calling someone else to come get it fixed for you. There's an opportunity. Pull out those YouTube videos and learn your equipment. And the same thing with basketball. This is a good time for people to just study the game. Understand, you know, you can get good at the game by being talented and being stronger and faster than other people. And you can be good at the game because you have a higher basketball IQ than other people. And a lot of that comes down to, if I say, you know, we're going to run a DHO on the downside, make sure you come off the pin down on the weak side, for you to understand what the heck I'm talking about means a lot. It's going to save me time as a coach and make me respect you more, that I don't have to completely constantly repeat myself and break down the things that I think you should already know as a professional basketball player.
That's the difference between a truly amazing basketball player and one that has to use their brain to become a really good basketball player. Person I would throw into that, you know, who has overachieved and done incredibly well in the NBA would be a guy like TJ McConnell. Really had no right to be in the NBA, but his basketball IQ is so high that on the court, he can be a great leader. And you're right, no matter what you do right now, learning is the most important thing you can do with all this downtime.
For sure. And just to give my boy TJ more props as well, not only that, but I say one thing in particular: you can never measure heart. And that's the one thing that TJ McConnell, that got him over that. And I can tell you, I almost hate that I came to the Sixers as he left the Sixers to go to the Pacers. But I tell you, the nostalgia that he left with the organization remains. You know, the city still loves him and they respect how hard he always played. And that's one thing that, you know, talking about what I would tell young people is, like, do everything and do it with your heart. If you're going to do it, do it with your heart.
I agree with you. Do you see the NBA starting anytime soon?
I have no clue. I'll be honest with you. I could try to speculate, but if I speculated and you asked me tomorrow, I might speculate something different. So I would hate to try to speculate. Obviously, for selfish reasons, I would love for it to start again because, you know, we are a playoff team and I want to see what run we can make. I think we have a good chance of anyone to win the championship this year. So I'd love to see it because of that. But also I have to say, if I was to take away that and understanding of the day and times we're living in, I just want people to be safe. That's it. Just be safe. And I don't want to put myself in harm's way, put someone else in harm's way because of something I do. And I just want everyone to be safe. I want this to pass as soon as possible and us come out on the other side more mature, more together, more understanding one another, and just in a better place.
Amen, brother. Amen. I want to thank you again, JB, for being with us today. It's great to see you as always. Love to see you in person sometime again. And maybe one day get to play basketball with you. But I don't know. I'm getting too old, I think, for that.
I think you playing basketball with me is about the same as me going running with you. I know you're going to smoke me. So, but I appreciate it either way. It's still a great workout, and it's great to hang out with you regardless.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you being with us today. Wish you the very best, good fortune, good health, and we'll see you on the other side of this mess.
For sure. Julie, great meeting you. Thank you for your question. Thanks for being involved. And Steve, this is great what you're doing. Continue it. I hope that somehow I can help promote this even more to get more people involved. And obviously anything that helps promote Tucson, helps promote people being active. And as I said with you, Julie, helps promote mental well-being, at least even better physical well-being is super important. So thank you all for having me, and God bless.
God bless. Take care, Joseph.
Thank you.